Hello everybody, welcome back. In the previous video we got our hero drawn to the screen. We added a couple quality of life things like stroke weight and stroke color, and made him kind of look like the one that is in the game itself. Something I'm noticing though is that this is going to very quickly fill up our draw function. I said that we can't really have functions within an object here, but we can have functions outside the object. So I'm going to make a real quick function here. I'm going to call it draw hero. And then I'm going to take this stuff and put it inside of draw hero. And that way, in our draw function, we can say draw hero, and nothing will have changed. But that also means our draw function is going to be nice and easy. So I can close up draw hero and not have to worry too much about it. So keep in mind, this is going to be a relatively longish project. It's going to have a lot of lines to it, and so we always want to keep in mind how we can keep our project clean. All right, what else? Let's get our guy moving. So what we're going to need to use is a key press event. Now in the template, I already have the key press event written out for us. So since I don't for this, let's go to the reference sheet and talk about key press. Okay, there's key pressed, key is pressed, and then what we can do is we can check to see in the draw function if the key is pressed, and if it is, then we'll do something with that. Here, that's close-ish. What about key is down? Key is down. Is that a thing? I'm trying to remember. Key is down. All right, and here's where we can check the actual keys being pressed. Okay, so we're going to use key is down. So we're going to have this in our draw function. So what I'm actually going to do here is we've got our draw, but I'm going to make another function called update. Okay, this is how when I make a game in my spare time, I'll have it set up. I'll have an update function separate from the draw function. The way P5 is set up, it looks like we're going to have to put that update inside of draw, but that's okay. So let's move that down so it's out of our way, and then let's make our little update function. Function update. All right, and so this way, anything we run in update should happen before anything gets drawn. So that way we can update the logic of our game. So let's say that. Update the logic of the game before we draw. All right, and that way we can keep things kind of separate. All right, so in our update function, we're going to need to check to see if we're pressing any of those buttons. So let's have a couple conditional statements. Let's say if key, in parentheses, key is down. I think the I and is, I and is needs to be capitalized. And this is a function, and we're going to check to see if the button being pressed is, we'll start with WASD and then we'll add in the arrow characters. So let's say, I'm trying to remember what the key code for these are. Let's check JavaScript key codes. Go into here, start with A is 65. So we'll say 65. Okay. And then in there, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our hero's X value. So we're going to say when key is down, when A is down, we're going to say hero.x minus equals. So we're going to take off a certain amount. Let's give our hero a speed. Do we want that speed to be associated with the hero itself, or do we want the speed to be just a general thing? Let's maybe make it a general thing, because I don't think our hero needs a speed. So let's do that. Let's say make a variable called speed. Okay, and we'll throw that up here. Let speed equal 5. Okay, and the way this is set up is when I press A, it should move our guy to the left. Whoop, and he does. Right. You'll notice something a little new we're doing with this, that after a little bit of testing I found that it didn't really make a huge difference. What we've been doing in the past is giving things their first value inside of setup, but we can actually give some things their first value when you first declare them. things that don't need to be created, things that are not classes, can be up here. So we can make our little object for the hero. We can also make speed up here as well. But if I wanted to make like a rectangle, like we did with the previous template, I couldn't say let hero equal new rectangle. I couldn't do that up there. Okay, so that line wouldn't work. But up here it would. Okay, so we've got this working. I also want it to move when I press the left arrow. So I'm going to say and, which is Shift 7, and key is down, and then I believe I can just say left underscore arrow, and it will know what I'm talking about. That only works for the arrow keys, unfortunately. Actually, I bet it works for like space and stuff too. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so we've got left moving. So now when I rerun this, I can use A. Ooh, hold on. So I said and. What that means is both need to be pressed. So A isn't doing anything, arrow isn't doing anything, but if I press both, it will. Okay, so that means I need to change this to OR, which is right above the enter button. Okay, so now A moves our guy and left arrow moves our guy. Okay, so let's add that into, or add that code for the rest of the directions, and then that'll finish up our video for the day. All right, so there's 4 other directions. We've got an option here. We can either make these all separate conditional statements, or we can have them be chained together with else's. If we chain them together with else's, what that will do is mean that the only one of the things can be activated at a time. So like we can press A or W or S or D. We wouldn't be able to go diagonally, is what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have these as separate conditional statements, and that way we can have multiple directions being pressed at the same time. So you can actually go diagonal, which will be nice. That might be an important part of the game. All right, so let's check D. D is 68. So we'll do this 68. And then for the left arrow, that'll be changed to right arrow. Make sure it's all caps. We're also going to need, that should be plus now. For the other one, we're going to need this to be Y's. And then when we add, this should go down. So this will be our down arrow. This will be our up arrow. Feel free to pause the video whenever you need to. And then up is 87. Oops, 87 is up. And S is 83. All right, so let's test this and then start working on our next part. All right. All right, WASD working just fine. Arrow keys working just fine. Something I've noticed, by the way, is some students have complained. I usually use WASD, so I haven't run into this as much. But for students that are more comfortable with the arrow keys, you'll notice that sometimes your screen seems to move while your character doesn't, or your character moves in a way you didn't expect it to. When you hit the arrow keys, if there is something to scroll to, it will attempt to scroll your screen. So for example, let me make my canvas way bigger. Let's make it 900 by 900. And then also make this a little smaller than it needs to be. All right, so now we see that there's moving bars over here. If I use my arrow key, watch what happens to the scroll bar. Okay, fine. It's not doing it. Well, it's not doing it for me, but something that some students ran into is that it would look like their character wasn't moving because it was trying to scroll. It might just be a Chromebook thing. I don't know. But the way to deal with that is to make sure that your screen is the appropriate size, or use something like WASD. All right, so let's move those back. Ta-da. And now everything's back to where it should be.